Hey, everybody. Small Business Talk with Jerry. I'm Jerry. This is episode 55. We are here with Isaiah Syverson, who's going to co host tonight, and Zoe Bierman from Bierman's Magical Moments. We'll explain what's magical about her moments in a moment. Isaiah, tell everybody hello.
Hi, my name's Isaiah Syverson. I'm the owner of Syverson Pressure Washing, and I own a few other businesses. I'm thankful to be back on the podcast again, so thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Zoe Bierman with Bierman's Magical Moments, the topic of tonight. I am a photographer local to the Preston, Rochester area and have been doing this for 4 years now, officially, I should say. I've been doing photography for like almost a decade, but
Awesome.
decided to get more full-time into it, over the past 4 years. So.
Awesome. So, why photography? Where did that come from?
Man, I have always wanted that artistic. I've always been artistic where I love just art and just the capturing of just fun moments and everything like that. Also, I love capturing those people's interactions, the natural interactions, and then sustaining that for forever. So, photography is not necessarily everybody can take out an iPhone and capture a moment or like that, but it takes somebody who can kind of almost foresee what's about to happen and be like, okay, this is gonna happen here. I'm ready. Let's go, kind of a thing. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. So, give us an example of a few bookings, like a couple of weeks or a month worth. What things have you done lately, or what do you expect to do?
Yeah, so I've done quite a few engagement sessions yet in the spring because that's basically springtime is like engagement time and everything like that. Starting to warm up and new beginnings, all of that fun stuff. That's why I tell my couples, I'm like, that's the great start for your journey and everything like that. Having captured, especially in the spring, and then I have a couple of senior sessions that I'm doing as well because graduations are all happening. Usually fall time is also prime for that. But yeah, and then families are always kind of throughout the summer as well.
Sure. And baby pictures?
Yes, newborn, maternity, all of that.
Speaking of.
Yes, I am due in August, actually. So yeah, we'll have my own newborn pictures soon.
Yes. Yes, my daughter-in-law was upstairs when Zoe got here today, so it was like pregnant lady day at the Fossum house. So she's due in like 3 weeks, so about a month.
Yeah.
She's the 25th, but they're going to induce her early. But yeah, I feel so bad for her. She's very pregnant.
Yeah.
And looks very miserable all the time.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for her.
Yeah.
But she's
exciting. They're having a boy, right?
Having a boy this time.
That's
we got a 2-year-old little girl.
Oh.
Yep, and then they're having a Beckett is his name, and little Calla. So
yeah, so if this is our first, and so we're having a baby girl as well. Awesome. And our name was non-negotiable because when I started dating my husband, I was like, this is the girl name, and we can't date unless you agree to
it. So do tell.
Her name would be
Emma. I like that. What's the significance?
I loved Jane Austen's Emma forever. Absolutely adored it, and Elaine just kind of went. So it means like full sun or full sunshine or full sunbeam. So yeah, she's gonna be my force to be reckoned with, sun blast of energy.
Gotcha. Neither one of them have any links to like
any family? No.
Nope.
I kind of just went off book.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're entitled to that.
I guess it's going to match her energy too. She's going to be, like I said, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with and going to do her own thing. So.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, I have my first one was a boy, my second one was a girl, and I thought Dustin was tough growing up. And 10 years later, we have Haley, so there's a 10-year gap between my two. And I thought boys were hard. They're not. No, not at all. Really. Yeah. It was actually, I had no idea how good I had it until we had a girl. And I love her to death. And now we're even to the point we like each other because you can love your kids and not necessarily like them at certain times. So that's a thing. But no, I just love her to death. But I have told her more than once, sweetheart, if you were my first, you'd have been my last.
Yep.
Wow. That was a real trial. I'll tell you what. But she's really grown up into a fine young lady. And she's married, and yeah, they were just down this last weekend for Heather's birthday party.
That's exciting.
It was fun. Yeah. It was fun, but yeah, it's you've got a lot of trials ahead of you, but you've got a lot of great things coming.
A lot of fun memories, and that will make some great moments.
Yeah.
Some magical moments.
Magical moments. That's right. Yeah.
You know, that would be a good name.
It would be.
That would be.
Deal.
So, what kind of equipment? I mean, to be a photographer now, when you look at, and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here or be a snot, but I mean, the cell phones, like Heather and I both, our cell phones were 3-4 years old, which is ancient in this day and age, So the phones we picked up, mine was, it was over $1,000. Heather's was over $1,300.
Yeah.
And the cameras on them are amazing. Hers better, more so than mine.
Sure.
I mean, so what do you have for equipment to compete with? Just like you said, I can snap a pretty darn good picture with an iPhone, but it's not all the equipment, like you said. It's the person taking it, right? So, but what kind of equipment do you use?
Yeah, so you make a great point with the phones and everything like that. Like iPhones have great cameras, as Samsung is starting to get into like some really good cameras and everything like that. So I do have a Sony camera actually is what I use. I shoot Sony and Canon. I'm getting more into that Sony, but it's not just like you said. It's
like
not
SLR stuff is what you're.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not necessarily just the equipment.
Right.
It's the person taking the picture. You can have somebody have like thousands of dollars of gear and not know what to do with it.
Right.
So you have to know your gear and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a T3 or T something, and it's whatever. At the time it's probably 8 years old now, but when we bought it, it was a few grand.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's a lot of money for a camera. But we had foreign exchange students, and Abba was in soccer, so then we went to the soccer games, and this camera wasn't worth a darn for the long, on the field stuff.
Sure.
And so we're Googling it. We're talking to some friends that were in the business, like, oh, that's a great camera. Just, it's the pros use, blah, blah, blah. You just need the right lens. Yep. So he gives me a list of like 3 lenses, and he said, first, second, third choice. And I'm like, okay. So we look at the first one. It's like $3,300. I was like, that's for one lens. That's more than I spent on the camera setup, like the whole thing. He's like, well, that's your first choice. So look at number 2 and 3. But yeah, Gene Peters, who's passed away now, he was a good friend of mine. He owned Peters Photography here in town.
Oh, nice.
And so he was like, he said, you don't need that. But he goes, I know you. So I thought there's a chance you might buy that, but that's the one. But he said, no, there's other things out there. And yeah, then you start realizing that the real money isn't even in the camera. Really. That's what we found. And that's where Heather and I, she was like, well, do we just bite the bullet and do it? And so then I had been talking to Gene, so I cheated. He gave me some terminology. So I asked her like 3 questions in a row that I didn't really know what I was even asking. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, that's all camera talk, right? That's photography things from Gene. And I said, I don't know what it means either. But I said, I don't know that we need to have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 tied up in a camera and some lenses if we can't answer these basic photography questions. So to prove your point, it's like so we have the camera and a couple inexpensive lenses, and inexpensive is they were still a few $100s each.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to
See, that's the thing with the iPhone and normal phones or anything like that. I'm picking up an iPhone.
Yeah.
But normal phones, anything, camera phones, everything like that, you can spend like $1,000 or $2,000 on a phone.
Yeah.
You can spend thousands of dollars on a camera.
Yeah.
So, and the lenses and everything like that have gotten better over the years. So it's whatever the camera body is, and then the lens itself is going to capture what you want there. And there's so many out there with different variations and everything like that. Like if you want a nice portrait shot, and usually if it's like a family or something like that, you want like a 35mm lens and everything like that. You have to know your equipment and what you're about to shoot as well. So to have the diversity of and if somebody's taking a picture on a phone, they'll just quick snap a picture and then maybe do all the things, but then it's the time into it afterwards, making sure the touch-ups and everything look good and everything like that. So
well, so what's your recommendation for Isaiah? He's kind of like what at least 12 or 13 selfies a day, right?
We're like 15. Keep it social media.
Space is out on the web.
So you got a good recommendation for arm length. I mean that's because you're kind of stuck with what you got.
Kind of need a selfie stick.
Is that it?
Yeah. Doesn't extend past that.
Yeah,
point,
no, I wish it did. Go gadget. Like.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I mean day-to-day stuff. Even though like you have a phone, the phones are good.
Yeah.
But they're not ever gonna bring, because you have the person behind the lens who is going to give the prompts to tell you what you should be doing, watching for those moments. Like it's the cues. Like when I'm doing an engagement session, the chemistry with the couples is going to help me. Okay, this is the mood we're trying to set. I can see what these people are doing, where they're at. I can capture these moments. I'm starting to know them a little bit better and everything like that. Isaiah's kind of helped me with some behind the scenes stuff, and then once in a while, with a couple of things, and so can kind of see when we looking at the couples, it definitely makes an impact.
And I can definitely contest that. Like when I've helped her, like with the behind the scenes, you have couples who have really good chemistry, and then you have other couples who it's just kind of awkward, and the chemistry isn't really there. And what I've noticed is Zoe does a really good job at knowing her audience. That's a big thing. Is she sees, okay, this chemistry isn't here, so maybe we won't do these poses, but we'll do these other poses that are going to make it better,
Sure.
So it's really knowing your audience too, which she does a good job at.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm excited to work with you on something. We gotta find something.
Yeah.
She does good work. She's very bossy though. I know from personal experience. But she's good at it. She's good at it, which is what you need.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a comment, but I would alienate half of our listeners, so I would just leave that alone. I would just leave that be.
Oh my goodness.
But being bossy is good if you're right.
Yep.
So when you're talented, then the last family picture that we did was, I think, by probably 2019, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
But we had everybody home, and the gal taking the picture was very soft spoken. And when we had, I think there was 9 of us. The picture's actually up in the hallway, raised, so you can see it when we leave. But she was not very bossy.
Sure.
And you really had to, when you had 7, 8, 9 people in the picture, whatever it was, you really have to pay attention. And by the time she was very methodical, but that also means slow. Which she was thorough, methodical, like I say. But by the time she got this half of the photo ready to roll, now she's got to work on this half. By the time you get that done, these guys we're slouching and we're, whatever, we're looking the other way, or your chin and your nose aren't pointing in the right direction anymore. Right. It's like, see, so that's one of those places where it's like she needed, in my opinion, was she could have done her job. I think she was very good at what she did. The final product was fine, but it took a long time to get there.
Sure.
I think if she'd have been a little more assertive and a little more like, just do it.
Yeah. It helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, so there's a bunch of different photographers out there, and there's different photographers for different types of people. So that's the whole point of, I feel like, the great and not so great thing about having so many of us out there is that you have options. Yeah. And so if you find somebody, you meet with them, you chat with them every time before I even commit to doing something with you, especially a wedding. I meet with a couple to make sure we click, because if we're not clicking, I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you to be like, yes, go with me, because then the wedding day is going to be there, or an engagement session is going to happen, and there's just we're not cohesive, because it really is like it's a dance. It's like I'm in the background, but I also have to know their cues and everything like that really well.
Sure.
But if you've got a more quiet couple, more reserved couple, I can be more reserved and everything like that. I have a very bubbly personality. It's just it just will come out. But no matter what couple I capture and anything like that, or senior sessions, we always have a good time. Yeah. So, but regardless, going back to that, there's so many different types of photographers out there that if you have like a more quiet couple, maybe they want somebody more reserved. Maybe they want somebody who's like methodical and stuff like that. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, if you don't want me to take charge, because I will for sure take charge and tell you what you need to be doing right now. So.
Well, I mean, that's just it. When it comes to, especially, I'm gonna speak for majority of the guys out there. We're not really interested in pictures. I mean, so, but that also lends to not being very good at it. not being a very good test subject or participant. So also it's like, okay, just tell me what to do so we can get this over with.
See, I like pictures and I like pictures to be taken of me, but when it comes to it, I'm like, I don't know how to pose.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no idea, like, I don't know how to pose, like, like you're holding the fish, the awkward, and so having, like, when we did my shoot, having you just tell me, hey, stand like this, shoulders back, whatever it was, made it so much easier, which I actually enjoyed instead of me trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because, like, knowing that, like, for me, knowing that someone's telling me, who's an expert in their field and is telling me what to do, helps me be more confident in my shoot, because you're going to know, you have your best interest, or my best interest in mind, right?
Right.
Well, how does it help you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's that whole thing. Yep.
And then it's like the whole thing of, if I try to do it and I'm not confident because I don't know how to pose, I'm not going to be confident. The photos aren't going to turn out as good.
Right.
Well, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people, when they see the camera come out, they all tense up, and you're like, okay, you can obviously tell. There's certain people like, oh wow, I look really tight in this picture, or like, why is my face making that look? That's why a lot of people, before I take their pictures, are like, okay, 5 to 10 minutes is gonna be super awkward. You're gonna feel really tense, but we're gonna loosen up and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
So you bring like tequila with?
I mean,
I'm feeling myself.
He's like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, even talking back to the guys thing, I've had a lot of senior sessions with guys, and so it's one of the things is like, I try to figure out what their favorite thing to do is, and then we make small talk throughout the whole session. So we're talking about if they like fishing or if they like sports or something like that. There's no topic that's not on, like, if they're like gaming and stuff like that, I can get behind that. I'm not as big of a gamer person, but we can still talk about it. Sure. Try to be versatile in that way. And that's the other thing, you have to be outgoing to a certain extent, because if you're so reserved, you're not going to get really a ton of clients. You know what I mean? So it's
well, you have to be relatable. I mean, that's the big thing is, if you can't carry a conversation,
right,
then nobody's going to know it. It's hard to display your craft when all you have is that craft.
Right.
And that's a lot of people. They really don't understand that. They really think, well, I'm a great plumber, so I should go. Well, you should. If you're a great plumber, you should be a plumber. Being a great plumber doesn't mean you should own a plumbing business.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, now some people can pull it off, but not everybody can. Because you're a great photographer, but photographers, it's almost all that whole entrepreneurial section is almost all independence. I mean, we don't, there are the big companies that do the school photos and things like that, but that's not a very lucrative job, right. As a paid session photographer. Right. If you want to make a living doing it, sure, you have to go do all the other jobs. Yep. And that's, like you say, there's really not a Bob's Photography that's a franchise across the country. Right. It's not McDonald's. So you do, when you call on these people, there is no, I mean, again, McDonald's, right? If we have a cheeseburger in Denver, or you have a cheeseburger in New York or Rochester, Minnesota, it's McDonald's, right? It's all the same.
It's all the same. Yeah.
That's not the way it is in photography. No. There's no franchise to it. There's no replicatable, business out there. You're just finding a human being. And so you have to make, if I can't expect that cookie cutter scenario, and the budget price, and that's the other side of it, I got to believe there's probably a huge variance in expense to do the same job. Now I say same, with air quotes, but it's like,
the basic concept is the same,
right?
But actually, with the effort and stuff that's put into it can be very different,
right? And
what everybody brings to the table. Not everybody offers the same thing, and will charge more or less depending on that.
Right.
So yeah, I try to be very affordable, and because everybody, you live close to the cities, right? Cities is always marked up higher, all of that other stuff. And what's nice about me is I try to be affordable, and I come to you. Yeah. I'm not afraid to travel. I'm not afraid to hop in the car. We go. Like the one shoot that I think we did was like an hour and a half in one direction from Rochester. Mm-hmm. So I ended up driving through like 2.5 hours.
What do you work?
I don't.
How is looking?
Yeah, I tell myself that all the time too.
Syverson Presser actually for Bierman.
Yeah. She was the top people.
Didn't hear that. No, but yeah. So it's definitely, there's so much variance in what can possibly happen that that's why like that's why I say it's a good and bad thing. There's so many of us, but there's also enough of us to where it's like every situation will be different. The editing style is different. How you're going to interact with the people are going to be different. It's all going to be an amazing experience no matter what. But I try to bring that a little bit of extra.
Yeah.
So coming back to like the original conversation too, with you mentioning editing, saying like everyone, there's different styles, different cameras, different ways to like shoot things. How would you say that, like, what else goes into photography besides just taking photos and finding the equipment, right? Like you mentioned, like editing and other things as well.
Right. So, I mean, you have to know your equipment, editing, all of that. Editing takes time. So, like, taking the pictures sometimes is only like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what you're doing.
Sure.
But then I spend, hours sitting in front of my computer analyzing what's going on with the pictures, and I have to go through each of them because if there's movement shots, you got to make sure you got the right ones in focus and everything like that. No, not every picture is going to be in focus. Even every photographer will tell you that. Like, oh, that didn't latch on when I wanted it to. So there's like I said, so the editing process is really the longest process of it. But then we try to make it, the royal we try to make it as efficient as possible, and that's where we are so affordable and where we can go with that. So
what do you use to edit? What kind of stuff do you use, like Adobe or?
I use Adobe Lightroom. So I have a background degree, 2-year degree in graphic design.
Okay.
So I was trained in on Adobe products and everything, that Photoshop, Lightroom, Adobe Cloud, all of that fun stuff. So I do know that pretty well.
Premiere?
Yeah.
So you see, when we talk about editing, this is near and dear to my heart, because I tell everyone when we get ready to do the podcast is, if you say it on camera, you own it, because I don't edit.
Yeah.
And I'm not lazy. I'm just incompetent. I don't know how to edit.
Yeah.
So I have no real desire at my age to learn how to edit. So I just kind of leave that be. But I tell everybody, so choose your topic, and I ask everybody, is there anything you don't want me to ask you? Because when we get in it, whatever we do is going on. We keep it real, which I think that's part of what I like about the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not cut up. It's not edited. It's what we do is what we do. And when you say something, we own it, and we run with it.
There's a lot of authenticity in it.
Yeah.
There is.
It's very in the moment, the stuff that I like capturing. It's very like authentic, real, in the moment, all of that fun stuff. So
since I have a new podcast coming out that we just recorded the first episode for last week, I could hire you to do my intro outro.
I can.
You could do that?
I can, so video and stuff like that can be a little bit more touchy, but I can probably make that happen.
And you're talking about the Run, Fall, Bleed, the journey of an entrepreneur's journey, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We love that title.
It's a great title.
We sat and played with that. But I've said that for years. That's been kind of one of my lines for a long time. Yeah. Especially when you're coaching someone a little bit, or you're mentoring, or you're just helping out, whatever you want to call it. We run into so many people that, they will mull over a decision, which is important, right? You do your due diligence. Make sure that everything we do as an entrepreneur is in one way or another touches risk management, right? You're always trying to mitigate risk. So you have to put some thought into it. What annoys me is when we put the thought into it, you weigh the pros, you weigh the cons, and you're like, okay, this is the right way to go. And then you come back to it 3 days later and you debate it a little bit more. And then a week later, you debate it a little bit more. And you get these people that will literally overthink. And when I say these people, I mean probably 40% of entrepreneurs that will just lament on these things and keep going and thinking. And it's like, well, you have to, and I always, it's been an adage for years. Well, you have to crawl before you walk. You have to walk before you run. It's like, you know what? Do your due diligence. I'm not telling you to go, full bore on everything at, knee-jerk reaction. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, do your due diligence, figure out what needs to be done, do it as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
And once you feel confident that you've made the right decision, run, fall, bleed.
Yeah.
There's no crawl, walk before you run. Run, fall, bleed. Get it done. Yeah. And you know what? When you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to bleed. And when you do, you get up and you do it all over again. And you figure out what went wrong. You don't just keep running and falling and bleeding.
Yeah.
But
you'll bleed out eventually.
Eventually you will. So, but so you got to step back and go, okay, what went wrong?
Yeah.
And you fix it. And then what? Run, fall, bleed. Just get in there and make it happen.
And like for me, that was kind of me when I started my business. Like I was really on this whole end of like ho-humming of like when everything's right, like when everything aligns or when I reach this, you're never gonna have the perfect moment to just do it, right?
Exist.
You just gotta take it. Just like photography, there's never gonna be like that perfect moment. You just gotta take a bunch of photos. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, buying a house, having a kid.
And it's all these things, and I kept ho-humming like when it came to like a CRM, right? To make sure that customer retention management system is what that means for our viewers. But for me to organize everything, and it's like we talked about, like I think the first time I was on the podcast, is being professional, right? Having an actual quote to send out, not crayon with sweat dripping down.
Right.
But having it, I was like, it's like $200 a month for what I want, or maybe it's $100 a month. And just coming off of starting my business and being my only income, I was like,
it might as well be $1 million.
At that point, I'm like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, I don't have income coming in, and I got to pay for this without making the money yet. And again, I looked at it where I ho-hummed on it for like weeks, and people kept wanting quotes, and I was like, I just bit the bullet and I did it, pulled the trigger, and then I saw the stuff start to come. Why
did you pull the trigger on it right then? Because you realized I have to have it.
I have to have it.
I have to have it.
It's the same way with like the reason I spent so much money on my business is if I want people to take me serious, I've got to be serious about my business. I've got to invest in it.
If you throw a tech on it, it'll probably be about $700.
Yeah.
That's people don't respond to that well.
No.
Right? They want a professional quote. They want something because they're like, can I hold him to a text of it'll probably be around 700?
Yeah.
That's not.
Yes.
That's
and and I noticed that a lot too. Like when I did like construction sales, I talk about that a lot because sales has been a big part of my life, especially construction. I learned a lot of that. And I noticed the biggest thing was presentation is a big thing.
Right.
Because door-to-door sales, I have 30 seconds to make an impression and about 15 for you to let me in your house.
Right.
So presentation's everything. And I noticed, like when I send my estimates, there's a letterhead. It's my logo. Then it goes into the description of the line, like products, the services that we offer.
Right.
And it's the line items. And then after the line items, then I do attachments. So I attach our insurance, references, a PowerPoint presentation about us. And then I do before and after photos of the services they want. Mm-hmm. When people see that, they love it. They're like, oh, this is professional. It looks put together. Right. And people want to go with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's that big thing of you just got to, when you decide it, don't ho-hum it, run, fall, bleed.
Right. Yeah. It's, the more you think about that situation in every part of your life, it fits. It fits. I mean, how many opportunities? I've had a lot of people ask me, what was the worst thing you got into when it comes to business or investments? I'm like, I have no idea. What do you mean you have no idea? What's the worst? What's the worst one you got in? Well, I said, the worst mistake I made, more than likely, I don't understand the gravity of it because it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I do live the run, fall, bleed. I truly live like that. But the preface to that is the due diligence and risk mitigation. Mm-hmm. And I'm very conservative. So when I look at it going, boy, this does not have, if this hits, it's going to be a gold mine.
Yeah.
But that gold mine, that's one spot and we've got 10 acres to dig in.
Yeah.
What are the chances I hit that? Now,
yeah.
Again, if I hit, I'm done. This is great. But do I want to put all this time, effort into digging holes and how many holes you're willing to dig?
Yeah.
And I walk away from a lot of deals. Even to this day, this is no exaggeration. I literally get presented at least 1 to 3 business opportunities every week.
Yeah.
Every week. And it's like, do you want to be part of this? Do you want to be part of this? Do you want to invest in this? And some of them are ridiculous and they're terrible. And some of them are great ideas, but it's like, I don't know that you can pull this off.
Yeah.
The person you're talking with.
Right.
And then you have other great ideas, but it's like, I don't think you understand how much this is going to cost. You are going to make it literally a fraction of the distance to the goal line, and you're going to be broke.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have huge money behind you, this is a plan that's going to take time to cultivate and real money up front.
That's the whole point of starting anything else. Anyway, you got to make sure you have the resources and the funds in the right direction and goals that you can set. Because if you start out on a journey like that and one of those isn't in place,
right,
it's not going to go.
There's there's multiple ways to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
There is a multitude of ways to fail.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'll tell you, if I had the ADHD energy of Isaiah, I mean, I would be unstoppable, you know, but I don't. And I don't work real hard at trying to get it either. I mean, to be fair, you know, you have to know your own limitations.
Right.
And for me, I feel like for an old guy, I'm still fairly ambitious, you know, but on the same token, you've seen a lot of failure along the way that does kind of stunt your growth a bit. And, you know, so at that point you have to, for me, it's not all about me anymore. Now, if I want to do something cool, I need a Zoe or an Isaiah to foster to get the cool going. I'm not going to do much at my age. I'm not going to do much cool anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not 100, but it's just, if I'm going to, like, you even look at SBR, you know, I believe in SBR group 100%. I mean, 100%. But we have an owners group. One of our owners is 32. He'll be 32 here in a few weeks or a month or something. He is the one that's going to benefit the most by far from SBR. We have one in our group that's in his 70s. Okay, now we've had this conversation. So, you know, that he is the one that he's there out of the graciousness of his heart. He's going to get some return. He'll be fine. But he's not going to see the return that I'm going to see.
Right.
And he's definitely not going to see the return Jordan's going to see, you know, at 32.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, you look at the business model that we're pushing. One of the biggest competitors that we have has been around for like 41 years.
Sure.
And last year they turned over $260 million in revenue. So the business model is there, and we've got, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I think in our infancy here, I think we're starting out stronger than they did when they started.
Yeah.
So, not that that's the whole story,
right?
But it's a definite positive.
But I mean, you've got also different, like, you know, if they've been there for that long,
right?
Time frame was different.
Right.
Everything was
big
different.
Difference from 1986 to 1920 or to 2026.
Correct.
Right? Oh, 1926 too.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
There is still a big difference between that. Yeah. So I mean, the day and age too is like, you know, people talk about how do I get my name out there in advertising. Social media is so huge. We're on a podcast right now.
Right.
It is such a big thing that, you know, somebody maybe in like an older person, not necessarily, you're not ancient, but like an older person, people of your generation don't necessarily know, like you said, Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're going to touch, and then something that I could go through and work on. It's the technology side of things that they don't know.
I bought it. I mean, this is how dumb I am. It's what, $800 a year, $865 a year, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it. I have it, and it's like, wow, this is complicated. Yeah, I think I'll pass. So I do use it. I mean, it's not that I don't use it. I do use it, but it's like buying a $1,200 iPhone and making phone calls on it.
Right.
And that's all you do. That's kind of me and Adobe. It's like, yeah, I spent all this money and I probably could have done it with Canva, but whatever. Here we are.
That's the thing too. Is like a lot of people can get similar results with cheaper things, but it's not going to be top-notch results. And knowing your software, knowing the systems is what's going to get you there.
Yep. So we just did the things I do understand, being like the podcast room, the studio. You know, I put a fair amount of resources into building this room, right? So Marty McQuiston was here, and he does Run Fall Bleed. It's him and I are co-hosting this together. Yeah. And so we wrote up our intro and outro. Mm-hmm. So we recorded that last week. Mm-hmm. So I have that Saturday. We did it. So we have those. Did I send that to you? The intro off. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's in the group chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was in that group chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought they turned out really good.
I like them. Yeah.
So now I've got to come up with a good friend of mine in Boston. He's a semi-famous artist out there. He's really making a name for himself. He's now in the just got into the Patriots pro shop. Nice. So he's got his artwork going on shirts right for the actual Patriots themselves. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's Jay Boucher. He's an amazing artist. Wow. And he reached out yesterday, and we were chatting a little bit. He said, do you need a logo? Do you need something for the new podcast? So I was like, yeah. So and he said, what do you, does it got its own name, or is it just part of Small Business Talk with Jerry? I'm like, well, we're going to call it a Small Business Talk with Jerry production, but it's Run, Fall, Bleed, an Entrepreneur's Journey. And he's just like, oh, I could do so much with that. That sounds so cool. So, yeah. So, but the microphone, this logo that's up behind me, for those of you listening, can't see it, but I just pointed at it. Jay did that logo for us, and so
love it.
Yeah, and like in this podcast, at the beginning, it's an animated version of that pops up.
Sure.
And then we had a gal that did our intro for us on that one, and she does a good job, good voiceover stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of fun. But I enjoy the editing portion of it, the little bit that I know how to do.
Right.
But it's so time consuming.
Yeah.
And as you know me for a while now. That's the one thing I'm in a little bit of short supply of is extra time.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I didn't spend half my night looking for my keys or anything, but
locked in a trunk somewhere.
Okay, not somewhere. In my trunk. Okay. Make it sound worse. I mean, I don't know if it's worse though. But they're locked in my trunk.
So your
keys are locked in
So
your trunk. Yeah.
you said that to help your case.
Yeah, but I don't think it did. That's what I'm like. Kind of like I was like,
I'm questioning that a little bit myself now.
But like it's the confidence. Like I'm gonna double down on it. Like they were in my trunk, not some random trunk. That'd be worse. You know what I mean?
It would be worse.
Excuse me, let me just punch out the back of this real quick.
I had to.
Yeah, but I love the fact that the new podcast, Run, Fall, Bleed, an entrepreneur's journey, because every entrepreneur has their own journey and has their own story of how they got from A, B, and C. Like I'm not even from Rochester, Minnesota originally. I grew up in Central New York. The only reason I'm out here is because of my husband who grew up in Lanesboro, Minnesota. So.
Oh, so he grew up was right down that area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So bringing it back, what is your Run, Fall, Bleed as an entrepreneur in your journey?
I drug my feet. I didn't want to take the risk.
I was just going to say, but why did you drag your feet? Were you overthinking things, or were you afraid? And there's no shame in either one.
Both.
Both.
I didn't know what to. It's the unknown. You see all the success that other people are getting. You're like, that could never be me. What do I know? And then you start doubting yourself, which a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel like their hesitation before taking that step is because they start doubting themselves.
Right.
They start overthinking, like what you were saying before. Yep. And so I was like, you know what? I did mention earlier I'm stubborn. I was like, I'm going to take this leap. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's not going to work while I'm trying to try it. So.
Right. Well, it's never going to work while you're thinking about doing it.
Right. If it's an idea, you're never going to get anywhere. No. So once you actually take that step, take that leap of faith, and then everything starts falling into place.
This is a theory I've had for years, and I believe I'm right. I guess we'll see what other people think. But you want to take a walk through Detroit. I mean, bring a bodyguard, but you go through Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago. Yeah. Go through these cardboard cities, right? Yeah. These homeless people that just don't have a direction, right? They've had some tough times. They've got drugs. They've got mental issues, whatever their case is. But I guarantee you, every one of those people have something beneficial that you could learn from them if you spend enough time and talk to them. Mm-hmm. Every one of them. Now, obviously, they're not going to be your mentor. They're not executing, right? They're not making anything with the good ideas they do have. But I'm telling you right now, there is no such thing as a worthless human being. There's not. Everyone has something good going on that you and I could benefit from learning.
Sure.
Everybody does. Mm-hmm. Now, execution part. Like I said, if I had that Energizer Bunny, energy that Isaiah's got,
rabbit.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, if I had that Sonic the Hedgehog stuff going on, and could cut that loose with the experience.
Yeah. Even unstoppable.
Yeah, you would just be unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I don't necessarily need to be unstoppable. I just want to be tough to keep up with.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I'll settle for that.
I think you've arrived to your destination, Jerry. You have arrived.
but that's the thing, and so that's where the Run, Fall, Bleed podcast, not to promote us so much, but it's show me an entrepreneur, even if you're the overthinker that's still sitting on the fence trying to decide. That's who that podcast is for.
Right. It's that push. You can do this. It's not don't overthink or find find a person, a mentor, somebody who's done that kind of a thing, who can help you walk through that.
Yeah.
Somebody's everybody's
or the other side of it too. And this is the very first episode Craig Holschel and I did. And it was the first time I swore on the podcast, and I kind of did it inadvertently. I said, I don't give two shits if you start your business or you don't, right? You're not here to impress me. So you're not going to disappoint me. You're not going to impress me. Just listen to what these entrepreneurs, what you guys have to say during the podcast. And there's no shame in listeners going, I am not the right person for this. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you what, you look in the US, I don't know how the stats are globally, but in the US, you're talking well over 90% of the businesses that start fail in the first year.
Right.
And half of them that make it, which is a very small percentage, they don't make it 5 years. So when you look at that, there's a lot of family fortunes, there's a lot of life savings, there's a lot of grandma's inheritance that have been blown on starting a business that failed, and you have nothing but starting over to do afterwards. So if you're on the fence and you listen to all these stories and you're like, yeah, that's too much for me, I'm not cut out for this, then bail. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, get off the fence. That's all I want this podcast to do for people, is to give them the confidence to make a decision. And if that decision is, I'm not going to go forward with this, that's okay. There's no shame in that.
Right. It's being humble enough to know, okay, I'm in over my head, but confident enough to take the chance.
Right. And maybe you realize that I don't have a mentor. I don't have that person that I can bring in as a mentor or a coach, and help me through this. I mean, we've talked about other parts of your life, and you have a really good mentor down in the Preston area. And you've had how many you've talked about, that you've had over the years. And another philosophy of mine is, your mentor doesn't necessarily have to know they're your mentor to be beneficial to you.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of stalker-ish, but.
Well, I look at it like I look at it like my social media is pretty big. Like I get a lot of traction on it, and I know that there's people who there's people I personally mentor, they're 18, 19, want to get started, which I love. But then I also know there's people that watch my things, and whether they've already started a business, they're a few years in, or if they're just starting, they'll go and watch my videos. And they're like, hey, these videos that you have on this podcast or not, they've really helped me pivot and change my direction, help me get off the fence. And it's things like that. By me posting it, I have no idea, but just by you talking and being there, people can look up to you if you're doing the right things.
It's being real and being honest and upfront, because you got in a lot of social media nowadays is the picture perfect. This is what this should look like, but they don't show you the behind the scenes of this is how it took to get there.
And that's what I did my first year in business. I did for an entire year. I videotaped the struggles and the successes. But I remember one time I posted, I started a job. I was cleaning the Audi and BMW Park Place building because they had an inspection coming up. I was cleaning the outside. All of a sudden, I started at 2 p.m. I didn't get done till midnight. And I'm still posting videos hey guys, bit off more than I could chew, but just being real and vulnerable with it. Yeah. And that's what really drew people to my page, was they're like, oh, this is real and he's being vulnerable, and people like to see the humanity side of someone, and not just the, oh, if you're not making $20,000 a month on a yacht, you're behind.
That's what I mean, the picture perfect social in the social media posting and everything like that, because that's what a lot of it is. And then people compare themselves half the time when they don't take a leap or take a chance and anything like that. They compare themselves to A, B, and C. One of the reasons why I, drug my feet a little bit, because I couldn't do what they're doing, and I'm not there yet, but I'm attempting to do what they're doing, but in my own way.
What people like about what Isaiah did also is, if you've been told this formally, or you figured out on your own, or maybe you're just kind of clueless to it and you're going to hear it here for the first time. If you're looking at someone and you're like, wow, I want what they've got. Now, what they've got could be cool cars, could be a big house, right? Maybe it's respect. Maybe it's commanding a room when they walk in, but whatever it is that you notice about that person that they have, one of my biggest pet peeves, must be nice. right? Mm-hmm. When you buy something new or when
yeah.
something goes well, it's like, oh, it must be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, if my dad were rich and when I wanted something, I just said, Daddy, give me this, and he got it, give me the must be nice.
Yeah.
Right? I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take that. When I bust my ass and I've been doing it for 30 or 40 years to get what I've got, and I hear the must be nice, I just want to punch him in the mouth. Yeah. It's like, seriously, like if you want what someone has, you better be willing to do what they did. Yeah. And if you don't know what they did, then it's a crapshoot. You don't know what what you're after, but it's like having a goal of, I want to make $300,000 a year. Okay, well, that's a great goal. How are you going to get there?
Right.
I mean, for you've got a business. You know how much money you can make in a day.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to pocket personal income, $300,000 a year, you can do the math and say, okay, I need to do this in a day. Mm-hmm. Now, and I'm not picking on you because I don't know your business.
Yeah.
But you may look at that going, okay, well, I'm one guy on one truck, and I know you're not.
Yeah. This is just in the beginning I was.
This is just hypothetical. But if you're one guy with one truck, you might have to clean 7 houses a day to make $300,000. Yeah. Well, each house takes you 3 to 6 hours. Well, you can't do 7 of them in a day.
Yeah.
At some point, you've got to eat a sandwich and you got to sleep a little.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And sleep's important, guys. I mean, I don't take my own advice on that one. I still struggle with the sleep part, but you guys gotta sleep.
And there's only 24 hours in it. Mm-hmm. So if you have to work 39 hours every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to make $300,000, well, kid, you're not making $300,000. Yeah. Right? It's not realistic.
That's not even fun. Like,
right? Who wants to do that?
Sounds awful. I'd rather make like 150 to 200,000. Okay, maybe 150,000. And enjoy my time off, and like actually enjoy it versus, I worked and now what do I have to show for it?
Right. But that's the thing. You have to do the due diligence. You have to understand
what the risks are involved. Right.
What you're asking for.
Yeah.
Understand what you're asking for. Yeah. Now that all changes when you add a truck and an employee, and you add another truck and you add 3 more employees, and these things.
Where you can make it so much. Right. You're like, I can actually go this distance. I can surpass my 300,000.
Yeah.
Like making like 500 or something.
Yeah. Like that. Well, and you and I have had the conversation a little bit. I have another friend of mine that does soft washing, pressure washing. And I've talked to him saying, you can only hold a hose so many hours a day, right? Yeah. So until you start adding trucks and adding employees, you can only go so far.
Yeah.
Now, can you charge more? To a point, right? I mean,
there's a cap.
There's a cap.
There's a cap there.
The market's going to kick you in the teeth at some point, Mm-hmm. So then it's like, well, what you have is a growth business, right? Same thing for photography. Same thing for auto mechanics. When you look at Broadway Car Care, it's a growth business. If you want to make more money, you need to add more people. Yep. You need to add more hours. If you add too many hours, you need more people. Yep. And what are people? They cost.
Yeah.
You got to give them a place to work. That costs. And that's the growth part. Every increase I want in revenue, I have an increase in expense. When you start selling products, Scrub Daddy, look at something like that where your margins are great, and one person packaging Scrub Daddies in the garage and take them to the post office once a day or to UPS once a day. Could you package 10 of them a day?
Yeah.
Could you package 30 of them a day?
Yeah.
Could you package 300 a day?
No.
You don't think so? I bet you could.
I mean, if I really wanted to, yeah.
I'm just saying, it's literally you're putting you're automating your systems using the internet. You sold them online. That's going to go in and mail merge into making your labels. You have some kind of you have your Speedy or UPS or FedEx. You have a ship. Was it ship? Shippo is one that we use.
Oh.
But it integrates right in there. And I mean, honestly, if I have the product, if I have the inventory, I could probably package, 300 to 500 packages a day by myself.
Yeah.
Well, how many do I need? How many of those things do you need to sell to make a decent living? I could sell 100 a day and probably make a decent living. Well, if you can get to 500, that's scalability. It's not, well, can you do 10? Yeah. Okay. So if we do 20, do I need to hire somebody? Well, if I do 40, I need to hire 2 more people. That's growth. I mean, to fix cars, to pressure wash houses, take photos. If you want to do 3 weddings in a day, you can't do that. No. So now you need employees. You need more cameras, or you need more equipment, or whatever.
Right. And And for me, I noticed like within like the year and a half, like we've grown a lot just in a year and a half. And the way I've been able to do that is I have a crew of 6 now.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of my other work that like otherwise, if I was doing everything that the business is doing right now, if I tried doing that myself, we would fail. I would 100%. But being able to find those guys and having the people to trust, again, it's like I was at a networking event that I was sponsoring myself, and I didn't finish the job, and we were cleaning a roof. And I'm very much so where I have to do the work, right? If it's not me, it's not good.
Yep.
Well, finally, my guys are like, oh, we can come back later this like evening. We can take the van, drive it down to St. Charles, and we can finish it up. I was very hesitant. I was like, I don't know. And finally, I was like, I got to go to this networking thing. I need to get the job done. I was like, okay, go ahead and do it. Ended up doing it. I was able to enjoy my networking event. I was able to make a lot of connections. I was able to get jobs from that. And my guys did an amazing job. And so like being able to help grow, but then also be able to scale in that way as well.
Not being so much of a control freak where you're able to relinquish some of that so that you can grow. Because I feel like some other stumbling blocks is some people are too much of I have to have my hands in everything that's going on.
Yeah.
They spread themselves too thin, wonder why they're exhausted all the time and not sleeping.
That's one.
That's one.
Sleeping, Isaiah. And but it's taking those, being able to, again, the humility in being able to be like, okay, this is too much for me. I need help.
Yeah. And that's actually a great point. I had someone that I was talking to, and they're starting their business, and they own it. And it was something about like being like hiring more employees, and being more hands off on the work. And he was like, it's kind of humbling to like hire someone else of like, oh, like, I guess I'm not that guy, or like, I guess I can't do it all. And I kind of challenged it, and I was like, well, you still are. I was like, because that's how you started your business. That's how you first started, is you were that guy. You did do everything. Now you're growing and you're at a place to where you don't have to be that guy.
Right.
Like, that's a great feeling of like, oh, I don't have to do everything now. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not stepping back. You're evolving.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's just a different part of the journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, and we've talked, you and I've talked this a lot. That's when you start making that transition from owning a job to owning a business.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you own a business, and you've owned a business since the beginning.
Yep.
But that first 3 months,
it's a job.
It's a job. If you didn't get out of bed, nothing got done. That's a job.
Yeah.
Photography, when you're an independent like that, if you don't go, if you have a wedding Saturday and you don't go, that's a job. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. And there's no shame in that. People get mad at me when I say that when I'll comment, well, that's what happens when you own a job.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, what's that supposed to be?
You work at it.
Yeah, you work it, dude. This is that you have to wear many hats.
It's not an insult.
No,
it's like,
absolutely not.
Every business.
Right? Yeah. What was Amazon when it started? It was a guy selling books online out of his garage. Jeff Bezos, I mean, one of the wealthiest men in the world. When Amazon started, it was a job. Amazon, okay, again, legitimately, was yours a business when you started? Sure.
It was a job.
But I mean, legally,
legally,
right? The Secretary of State looks at it going, Isaiah Syverson owns a business, right? Zoe Bierman owns a business. Jerry Fossum owns a business. We don't show up tomorrow, it doesn't go on. Okay? So in reality, we own jobs. That's how that works. And, excuse me, that's not an insult. It's just stay in your lane. Right. Understand where you're at. And if you're happy with that, if you're an electrician, if you're a photographer, if you're a pressure washer, and you're happy doing what you do, making what you make, great. That's great. Especially at your ages, that's great. You start getting to my age and health issues can come up. And I've had 2 hips replaced. I was out of work for a few weeks each time.
Yeah.
Well, if I own a job, that's tough. I'm fortunate at that point we'd evolved into a business, right? So I have employees, and I was able to walk away for a few weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And it's all right. And people take it as an insult, and that just shows how kind of self-conscious, right, that they are. Because it's like, again, when you get offended when I say you own a job, that tells you more about you than it says about me.
Yeah, because it's not a negative thing. It's
not.
Everything that when you go to start your business, unless you have like investors or whatever it is, you have to do everything yourself. Social media, the work, But
even if you have investors,
you're still
doing the work.
Yeah.
Right. If those investors give you a pile of money, and on Saturday when that wedding comes, you don't go, doesn't matter how much money they gave you.
Right.
The job doesn't get done.
Yeah.
I mean, The only way you should take offense to that is if you start the sentence with "You're an idiot" and you own a job. Then you should take offense to
Then,
it.
yeah.
But if you don't start it with that, then
It's like owner versus operator.
Yeah.
Like in Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I love that book. I
Yeah.
read it. Someone had, and the thing that always sticks with me and really helped me make that transition to trust my guys of giving them that van in St. Charles is I read it's like, do you want to be an owner or an operator? You have to be willing to find someone who can do it at 80% of what you can do it at,
Yep.
and let them run with it.
Yep.
And that, again, I was on the fence when we talk about that run, fall, bleed. I was on the fence of letting my guys take that van or not down to St. Charles.
Right.
I was on the fence, and I'm like, I'm going to run, fall, bleed. Like, I'm just going to go for it. I decided it, and I did it. And I'm like, this is going to make, if I can't trust my guys to do this while I'm at a networking event, I'm like, then I can't, what do I have?
Right. What do you have? This story, you go to the park with your dog.
Yeah.
And he's on a leash, right? That first time, letting go of that, unclipping them from the leash and letting them run in the park, that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same exact thing you went through. That first time you unclip that leash, it's like you're holding onto that leash going,
yeah,
do I dare? I mean, is he going to bite someone? Is this going to come back to hurt me? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yes.
Yep.
If he hurts someone,
Yep.
it hurts me.
Yes.
And we're all here. I mean, that self-preservation is strong, right?
Yeah, because your name's on it.
Because your name's on it. So you turning that van loose, or you hiring someone to go do a wedding. Mm-hmm. Boy, I mean, that unclipping that dog at the park and hoping they don't bite someone or just run and not come back, right? I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, and that's what you're afraid of. But right, if I can't take my dog to the dog park, that doesn't, I mean, and I'm going to take even a step further. Like you said, what do I have, right? If I can't trust my dog to run around the dog park, is that the end of the world? It's not the end of the world. It's not as bad as not being able to trust your employees with a business. But the harsh reality of it is, if you can't trust your employees to go to St. Charles, whose fault is that?
Right.
Mine.
I mean, really, right?
Mine,
At the end of the day, whatever happens in your business, whose fault is that?
Right.
It's yours.
Right?
Your
name's on it. You're taking it.
So that's the toughest part about unclipping that leash on employees is, have I done a good job? I mean, okay, so if we all go out to dinner after this, and you sit down and you have a terrible waitress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you can be that jerk that's an ass to the waitress, doesn't leave a tip, whatever, right? What are you accomplishing, right? You're not. What I always think about, I try to look at it when I see this waitress, that's terrible, and we've all had them, right? Or waiter, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You kind of look around the room going, okay, is she by herself? Is she running 14 tables when this legitimately should be doing 4?
Right.
Put yourself in her shoes. Or his shoes.
Yeah, put yourself in their shoes. Absolutely. But the other side of it is, you look around and you decide, okay, that's not it. She's only doing her 4 or 5 tables. She's doing the same thing the other 3 waitresses are, blah, blah, blah. Is this woman just terrible? or this guy is just terrible?
Right.
Or were they not trained?
Mm-hmm.
Or take it a step further, is something going on in their personal life that's causing them to have an off day?
Right. I mean, that's what I mean. You look around and try to assess, is this a one-off situation where they have too many tables?
Yep.
Right. Say something personal. Right. Their kid was acting up. Their dog died. Whatever. Mm-hmm. But then you have to look around going, okay, but even when that stuff happens, if it's bad enough that it affects you to the point you can't do your job well, then you shouldn't be there.
Yep.
Right. But it still comes back to the owner.
Yes.
Did you train these people right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you send that poor waitress out there with not enough training? And she doesn't know that when she walks by the table, looking straight ahead and not making eye contact with the people at her tables, that's a bad deal. When you have an empty drink or an empty water or whatever, and you're literally trying to flag someone down and they don't make eye contact with you. Tell me what's more annoying in a restaurant than having a waitress that, is, and even if they're busy, you give them a little leeway, but they need to look at you, right? They need at least
glance over.
Yeah, just glance over. You don't have to come over and ask me every 5 minutes if everything's okay. Right. Just a glance. I'll let you know if a little head nod or whatever.
If you see like the glass is empty, just go over.
Just go over and deal with
it up.
Right. And then the other side of that is, when you have a great waitress, when things go awesome, tell them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously in America we tip, right? So tip well. If you can't afford the tip, you can't afford the meal. Okay, I'm a firm believer in that. But at the end of the day, I really believe and not to the point that you're fake about it, right? Be genuine. But I do believe that you should, if you're sitting in a cubicle all day and you have no interaction with people, this is going to be tough. But when you're out and about, like you go into other people's businesses all day, and you're talking on the phone, you too, same thing. I don't go places, but people come to me. If you can't dole out 3 or 4 compliments in a day, it's mindset. And
it's free.
It's free, and it's so when you pay someone a compliment, it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And when you do that all day and you just get in that mode, when you have a great waitress, tell her.
Like what I'll do sometimes is I'm like, oh, like I look at her sometimes I don't do it as much. I'm like, oh, compliments are free. And then I'll see someone who looks like they're having a bad day and like, yo, I love your shoes, bring the energy. And it just changed their entire day. You know what I mean? And it's something like that where you're like, oh, I feel good, it fills my cup,
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that too is like the words of affirmation and stuff like that too, when applies to even going back to just even sessions in general, like when you're interacting with those people on a day-to-day basis, maybe they come in, maybe they don't have the highest energy, maybe something happened, or maybe it's a guy doing a senior shoot or something like that. You got to make sure that the energy is up in there. Pay them a couple compliments, it'll change their mindset.
So does that mean if we say something nasty to Isaiah, it'll tone him down a little? Does it work the other way?
Take a couple bad examples.
No, that's not going to work. I run on solar, Zoe. You do all the stuff you want.
Let's get nuclear. Yeah, there's a way to tone it down. Can you guys share this a little bit? Can you transfer a little over?
Yeah.
Take a little of that energy. It's like your dog. Take him to the dog park, let him get tired.
Yeah. The dog say after looking at the wolf. Yeah. It's like 2 hours and you're like, oh, this isn't done yet? Never does. He doesn't sleep either. How does this work?
I believe you.
Energy drinks.
Yeah. So what now? So compared to Isaiah, you've been doing this a long time. Compared to me, you're just getting started.
Right.
So we all have our place, right? What's your goal? Where do you see yourself, in say 5-10 years?
Being 100% all in with this, because it'd be amazing to see the growth just of having weddings every single weekend and all of that other stuff. Like I said, I've only started it technically only 4 years ago. I've been doing it for 10 years, dabbling in it 10 years, took that leap 4 years ago. But being able to have those second shooters, to be able to get them out, or be able to go maybe pick and choose the events more or less that I would like to do. You can have that now more or less, but you have to be, when you're starting out, knowing that, okay, doing the numbers, where do I want to be? What numbers do I want to bring in this year?
Right.
You can't be as picky.
Right.
Not saying that you don't enjoy all the sessions, but you have to make those extra steps. Whereas, in 5 years, I can be like, okay, not really feeling the vibes here as much. I don't want to work as hard with this one. I can be picky. Kind of a thing. Getting those dream clients, maybe getting into destination weddings and stuff like that, because I would love to do those kinds of things. So if anybody knows anybody, yeah, let's go. But that's really what I would like to be at myself. When we're talking about entrepreneurs and stuff like that, my husband's an entrepreneur. Has his own business. He's been running his own business for a decade now. And it was hard. He was working a second job during that time. And then when I moved out here right before we got married, he jumped full on into it. And I'm talking about holding back and not taking that step. He was so scared to stop his 9 to 5 to go into that. When he took that leap, the amount of growth and how much his whole business just blew up was amazing. And then just telling him, babes, you're doing an amazing job. Look at what you're doing. Your summers are completely full. You're doing all of these things. It looks amazing. So anybody who is that hesitant, I don't know what the future holds. Just take that step. because you're not going to know if you don't ever take the chance, you know? So, but overall, I would love to be able to be a little picky, a little snotty when it comes to who I get to choose for my clients.
You don't gotta wait for that.
Okay. No more get posted.
You picked him.
I did. I actually did. Yeah. Not a mistake.
Well, so with that being said, what's the easiest way, best way? What's your preferred method to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So I have my website, BiermansMagicalMoments.com. You can hop right on there. You can either
spell that. Let's just be sure.
BIERMANS, Magical Moments. .com, and then you can just hop on there. I have a contact page, everything like that. You can call me, text me, email me. Calling, texting is great. I love just being able to talk with you. Like, a call is amazing, but obviously sending me a good email, you know, what you're looking for, and then I'll reach out and we'll connect. And then meeting in person is one of my favorite things. So being able to connect with you, making sure we're a good fit, because my job, yes, is to be able to make sure that those moments in particular that you're looking for were captured. But I also want to make sure that we're going to gel so we're on the same page with everything, because really it's like a personality matchup, making sure that we're a good fit. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, BiermansMagicalMoments.com. Isaiah, how about you?
For me, it's Facebook and Instagram. So for our business, it's Syverson Pressure Washing on both of them. On Facebook, it's Isaiah Syverson. And then on Instagram, it's...
And your Syverson is spelled a little different. So
you
should probably throw that
I should,
too.
yeah. So it's Isaiah, and then Syverson is spelled Syverson.
Okay.
And then my Instagram handle is its_ZAY0423.
Perfect. I do have social media with Instagram and Facebook.
Two.
Yeah, I know. I told you it's the Italian in me, man. But those are also on my website, and those links are right there, so you can just go right to them if it's easier for you. So, yeah.
Awesome. And soon to come, they'll be able to find you on Braggins.com.
Yes.
She is part of both of you guys, part of SBR Group. So we really appreciate it.
Shout out SBR.
Let's go.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people through there. A lot of great people. And Isaiah.
Yeah. I get my own category because I'm that great.
Which one? The Syverson? This one?
This one. Yeah,
I get my own category because I'm so great. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
You tell yourself.
I will. See what I mean? Like, I just keep going.
It's running. Cool. Well, is there any last points that you want to bring up at all before we wrap it up tonight?
Just if you're afraid to take that risk, go ahead and just take it, because you're never going to know if you don't try. But also, I would love to, if you're looking for somebody to connect with and just capture the special moments, because everybody has moments about to happen in their lives, whether you're dating, maybe it's just like a couples thing, you want to have a fun date night, I can do that kind of thing too. You got people that are graduating, tis the season, or like somebody who's going to be getting married here soon. I would love to connect with you on a more one-on-one basis.
Yeah, especially if you're dating up, you want some proof. So
True.
You want that document. Yeah. Tell Heather, I'm like, honey, I know you can do better. Just don't. Yeah, I tell her that all the time. And whenever I tell that, people laugh, and Heather just looks at me and rolls her eyes and goes, he really does say that.
Yep. And that's the chemistry I look for. I'm like, listen, you got to have that kind of chemistry. It's going to be so fun.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for making time tonight. Isaiah, same to you. Thanks for coming out and co-hosting tonight, even though you made us wait.
I did, but I still made it.
You did still make it. You still came. So with all this that's going on tonight, I don't know that you'll invite Isaiah back, but would you do this again?
Absolutely.
So you had fun?
It was a lot of fun.
Great.
A lot of fun. Good
I know
conversation.
you'll do it.
A lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely do it again. No shame.
I count on that. I pick on this kid a lot, but I tell you, it's one of my favorite people. So, you guys, this was awesome tonight. I really appreciate you guys both coming out and making the trip out. Now, at some point, I have the younger generation in the room. Maybe you guys can work with me to figure out how to do the remote podcast, because as SBR is growing, that group of entrepreneurs specifically, they're getting further and further away. Where driving in and coming to the studio isn't necessarily on the card. Like Brainerd is too far.
No, that's
sure.
Yeah.
La Crosse and Otana, both of those are hit or miss because Suzanne Routh was here. She decided. I told her, I said, I'll figure this out for you, and she's like, nope, I'll come down. And so she was really gracious about that and came down and yeah, had fun.
Yeah.
And she's I've known her for years, just a sweetheart too.
Aww.
But yeah, so I need to interject some of that young entrepreneurship in here to help me with some of the technical aspects. But and then yeah, I'll reach out and we'll have you maybe do my intros and outro for the new podcast series.
Run, Fall, Bleed.
Run, Fall, Bleed, an entrepreneur's journey. Yep. Look for it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and YouTube. That's our 5. So yeah, we're on 5 platforms. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. Everybody, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.